Hello everyone. I wanted to discuss with you today one of the most pervasive anxieties that I dealt with as a young person, one that I still deal with to this day, and one that all of us will likely deal with until the very end of our days. It's an anxiety that we've shared with every other living being since the dawn of time. I am not doing enough. When you think about the reason why we're here, it's because we evolved from a lineage of beings who had this as their sole anxiety and motivator. From when we were but a puddle of snot that crept up towards the land, reached as far as it could into the blinding sun. Or a bird who might say is early, looking for a worm, thinking I am not doing enough to get the seed that I need. All of these beings shared with us the same anxiety that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And our brains haven't changed since the days when, like them, we were scavenging in the woods, hunting mammoths and gathering berries. That's why we feel this urge to constantly be doing something else, or to be constantly beating ourselves up for not doing enough, because that is how our ancestors made it. We reap the gifts and the rewards that our ancestors betrothed onto us because of that anxiety. And that anxiety is what will give all of our future children and descendants the gifts that they have, that we worked for, because we felt that same anxiety inside of us. I remember thinking, I'm not doing enough. I'm not going to make it. I am worried about my ability to survive. I am worried that I am not doing enough to change. I'm worried that I'm not doing enough to achieve my goals. I'm worried that I'm not doing enough to get the worm. I'm not early enough as the birds who got it before me. That has been the sole motivator of every being since the first light peered over the mountaintops. That's what's kept us going. And this accumulation of progress was not completed in a day. All of the animals on Earth didn't someday decide one morning, today's the day that we walk on land. Today's the day that we change our lives. They weren't ambitious in the classical sense. They didn't think, I have to go to this networking event this evening so that I'll be able to walk on land, or I'll be able to cook food for my tribe. They simply did the best that they could. I'm getting a little snotty here. Could you maybe give me a... Jesus Christ. All right. Hang on, I need a... Where's the thing? Thanks. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is it showing up on camera? Is it showing up on camera? Okay, no. Alright. I don't know why. I guess that's just... Okay. No, I'm not sick. I'm fine. Okay. Alright. Where was I? I think there's a wasp on there somewhere. Okay, alright, whatever. When I was a young person, I saw the looming horizon in front of me, and I dreaded the day where I would finally have to make it for myself. We inherited a much different much more inhospitable world than our parents did, in some ways. But in many others, we reap the rewards of what they did for us. We are a generation that is allowed to pursue our wildest dreams. And in a cruel twist of irony, we're the generation that lives in the world least conducive to it. I remember back in the days of my early 20s, and in many videos I've said that your early 20s is the worst phase of your life, something that I completely stand by and agree with. I had $5. I had no motivation because I was spending all of the energy that I had on survival. Like our ancestors in the woods, they didn't have time to think of goals and dreams. They just had time to stab a mammoth. They're always looking for their next meal. Look around you at all the critters, the squirrels, the birds, the geckos. The only thing they're worried about is eating. The only thing they're worried about is survival. And I used to constantly spend my days concerned that by merely surviving, I was not doing enough to make progress towards my goals. Because that's what we're told. We're told that we need to pick a day to stand upright. And on that day, that is the day that we will finally get what we deserve. We need to take it. That's not what any of the beings who lived on this earth before us did. All they did was focus on their survival. And like a gentle snowfall, it accumulated into change. It accumulated into us. It accumulated from the snot. Hey, I guess that's why snot was on the brain, because I had it coming out of my... It's funny. The puddle... Didn't I say snot at the beginning? Okay. The puddle of snot didn't one day decide to walk upright. It merely tried to survive. And then magically, after days and days and days of merely trying to survive, it looked back and realized it had changed. That's us. We didn't do anything. We didn't do any of the work that they did to get us to where we are. And yet we did. Because we are the universe experiencing itself. So we carry the weight of all the beings before us. We did the best that we could. And so we should thank them. I spent a lot of days in agony, thinking that I was a failure and a loser, which I was. But one day I wouldn't be, because each day that I was trying to survive, I was changing. Survival is change. Survival is evolution. Evolving is the process of change through survival. It is the accumulation of survival amounting to change. So if all you're doing is surviving, trying to get to the end of the work shift, trying to get to the end of the week with enough food, trying to get to the next paycheck before you overdraft, you are changing. Because in the spirit of all those who came before you, you're surviving just like they did. That's all they did, and that's all you have to do to contribute to the thrust forward of our universe into the dying light. So thank you. on behalf of all of the beings who came before you and all of the beings who came after you. Thank you for just surviving. Thank you for doing your part for all of us. It's not easy, but you've done it. You should be very proud of yourself for that. I'm very proud of you for that. And if surviving is the only thing that you achieve today, fine. Because that's the only thing that they achieve out there. The birds, the worms, the mountain lions, the mosquitoes. That's all any of us have ever had to do. Good luck. And thank you. Pretty good. Yeah, I think that was pretty good.